What have I gotten myself into? Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. A lot of times, because I work, usually in the comic book medium, I do those a lot of times. I do them in ink. Inktober is a challenge that I've done before. It's a challenge I really like because of all the different mediums that I can work in. Ink is my favorite. So why am I like? I don't know, why am I so hesitant to jump into the Inktober challenge this time around? A lot of reasons, and I'll talk about a lot of those while I kind of show you what I'm working on. But Inktober, I've done Inktober, I think, I don't know, 3 or 4 times successfully so far. So I don't feel like I have anything to prove. I've never done it and failed at it, so I know I can do it. But when I set out to do a challenge, I want to make sure that I can do it. And this may be the first time that I may fail at this. So it is really challenging because I'm trying to do something a little differently. I've done some little tests and things, and they haven't worked out so well. In fact, on my Patreon, I showed a video of one of my failures. So yeah, I don't know, but what I'm trying to do this time around is something a little differently, something that I haven't done before, and not to mention all the other stuff that I have to, I have to do in October, which is just a really bad month for me to take on the challenge. I haven't done this challenge every year. It happens. Sometimes I'll skip a year or whatever, but anyway, why am I doing it this year? I don't know, because this is sort of crazy what I'm doing, and not that it's never been done, but I'm trying some different things. So here's the goal. Here's what I'm trying to do. What I want to do is so I've got, this is, a blank piece of black paper. You see some white paint. What I'm trying to do is I want to do sort of this space-scape drawing, and what it's going to be is it's going to all the pieces are going to attach together. So this piece is going to go, and it's going to kind of be vertical. So it's going to be this vertical thing with everything's going to attach. Like one piece will connect to the other. So it's this big long thing with it's going to be 31 different drawings, hopefully, if I get this thing right. But it is going to look sort of like this. Now, this is the test that I messed up on, because I try to do, I don't know if you can see what's going on here. There's a little spaceman. He's kind of coming through a portal. So this was my failure. And the reason why this was a failure is because I was trying to figure out what to do. So I did a test. And I did a few drawings digitally. And my idea was to take these drawings. That's kind of what it looks like, just the line art. So take these things and then print them out on black paper. So I printed it out in different colors, and you can't really print white from a laser printer, so that's a problem. But I thought, and I've done things before where I've either drawn on black paper with a graphite pencil, which is pretty close to black, and it's almost invisible if you hold it in a certain light. So I thought maybe if I printed black on black, the black ink would be shinier, that I could kind of tilt around and look, or get a good angle, and then I could trace and do my white ink. I tried to do that, and there's no way you can see it. I can barely even see it here, but there is a black drawing here, and I, meticulously tried to go in here and look at the lines that were printed out on this. It did not work. So I've been going back and forth with this thing so many times, like, okay, that didn't work. Maybe I should just scrap the whole thing. I've got other things I need to work on. But part of me is like, no, I want to make this, I already had a concept in mind. The other thing that I'm doing that I've never done before is use the Inktober prompts. If you're not familiar, go to MrJakeParker.com, Jake Parker's website. He's got a list of all the prompts for 2019, and for what, he's got the past ones in there too, which, you could use if you're just having trouble coming up with ideas of what to draw. But, so there's different prompts, so I'm trying to incorporate all the different prompts. The first one is ring. You can see from this failed thing, there's sort of this ring here that he's kind of going through like a part of a space station or something. Or you can see it better here. So ring, so I'm trying to incorporate at least a little bit. I'm trying to incorporate all the prompts. I'm trying to do it on black paper, white ink on black paper, and I am trying to have this whole thing connect. So that's the goal, that's the challenge, other than just putting out a drawing every single day of October. So far it's been a failure. So I thought, you know what? Even though I've got concept sketches for, I think 5 of these already, I'm gonna have to start over, even though I did these digital drawings. I'm gonna have to start over because there's no way. There may be other ways to transfer that. You know, I don't know. There's somebody in the chat if you want to let me know, or the comment section, if you have a better idea of how to transfer stuff onto black paper. I know there's like, you know, sign painters use like the Pounce powder and stuff like that, and I'm sure there's white, but that's very complicated for a little drawing like this. So what I'm going to attempt to do right now, and I'm sorry this is a long intro, and I know a lot of people just want you get to the drawing, but hey, I'm explaining how I do this, so like it or not, that's what I'm doing. All right, so this is the ink I'm using. It is Deleter White number 2. All right, I don't know the difference between number 1 and number 2. I've got a Jelly Roll pen, which it looks like I left the cap off, which just probably means it's no good anymore. So Jelly Roll pen, have to get another one of those because that's probably dead because I left the cap off. I've got 2 different pencils. One is a white Cola Erase pencil, and the other is Derwent Artist white pencil. So I'm gonna draw in white ink. I've got this is just a cotton watercolor brush. That's what I'm going to use to apply the white ink to. And then I've got this black eraser that works really good on the black paper and doesn't leave any marks or anything like that. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do right now. Hopefully this thing works out, and hopefully I don't crash and burn with this event or this challenge. It's something I've never done before, but that's what makes it a challenge. So join me as we sketch out, or we attempt to do Inktober. This will be drawing 1, and I will be posting this one. I'm going to post here on YouTube. I'll probably be posting some of the other ones on my Patreon, so if you want, there's tons of cool content. I just kind of launched it, so there's not a whole lot there. There's quite a bit for just launching it. There's quite a bit of free content up there, and you're getting free stuff every month, and there's drawings, there's all kinds of stuff like that. So if you want to, there'll be a link in the description or at the end of the video to join my Patreon if that sounds like something you're interested in. But there's going to be tons more stuff. And the good thing is, if you join now, there's not a whole lot of people, so when I do a drawing, you have a pretty good chance of winning some cool artwork because there's not a whole lot of patrons right now, so might be a good time to get in on the ground level. But aside from me pitching that, I got to get to work on this Inktober drawing. I hope this works.
Okay, it looks like I'm doing this. So if you happen to be one of the few people on my Patreon, you would have seen the attempt I did at this where I failed. Now what you're seeing now, I've done a sketch. I've done it in the white pencil. I've done it pretty lightly. one of the problems I noticed that as my hand rubs over it, it starts to kind of erase the sketch. So I have to be really careful with that. But you know, this process has taken me a lot longer, a lot more complicated than I was thinking it would be. Partially, and that's just for the beginning, because I had already drawn this sketch digitally, and now I had to redraw it in pencil, and I sketched, I think, 2 or 3 other parts to this, because as I mentioned, this is going to be a continuing thing. Every drawing is going to connect with the other one, and ideally, and I haven't really thought this through all the way, ideally it will be all printed together, so it will just kind of fold out. I don't know how big a printer I can use, and I don't know what size or anything like that, so hopefully that will work out where it can be something that can fold out, but maybe with 31 drawings it's just going to be too giant for any printer. I don't know. I mean, I know they've got these printers that print like on sort of a roll, so maybe that's possible. I don't know. Who knows what this is going to happen? But I should have thought this through a little more. But one of the reasons I kept going back and forth with this whole thing whether I was going to do this Inktober. And I had this idea a while ago. I think last Inktober I had the idea of doing this same style, and then I didn't do it. And then I started sketching things out, and then when it didn't work out, and I had that failed attempt at sort of printing it on the black, and that didn't work out, then I thought, well, why am I torturing myself with this? Why I just put this thing aside and not worry about it, because I've got a ton of other things. I'm trying to build these digital products. I've got all this other stuff that I'm trying to do, and this is going to take away from that. I'm working on a video on how to create comics from start to finish. All the stuff that I'm working on, and this is going to take away from that. And then I came across this video by Will Terry, and It's on his channel. I think it's probably the latest thing that he's done. But he was talking about how he's approaching this Inktober project, and he hasn't done. I think he said he's tried to do Inktober before and failed or whatever. So he's kind of doing a little different. I think he's got most of his stuff sketched out. He admits it. He's just kind of using this as, I'm trying to get, use this and the hashtag to gain interest for this project that I want to do. So he's not really doing it every single day, which that's not a big deal to me. I mean, I'll probably be doing the inking every day, but I'll do the sketch. Like I said, I've already done 3 or 4 of the sketches beforehand, and I may continue to sketch some of the stuff out before I do the actual ink, just to get ahead of it all. Whether that's against the rules, I know, and I don't know. There's a lot of people that are really, Inktober has to be this or that, and I've done a video before where I kind of I personally think it should be done with ink, and this is from somebody who does both digital and ink. If you do it digitally, I really don't care. For me, I think that's, to me, and I didn't create it, so I didn't create Inktober. That's a Jake Parker thing, so whatever he says is fine. I don't care. But for me, because I even thought, what if I just did this digital? Because it would be so easy, because I could just draw it in black and then just do an inverse in Photoshop, and then I've got my negative version of the drawing. But to me, that just didn't make sense from what I'm trying to do. I think hopefully people, if I'm showing these videos, people will look at this and go, oh, that's kind of cool. It's different because he's drawing these in white ink on black, whereas normally we see the opposite. So maybe there's a little novelty to it that may get more eyes on it, which is always a good thing. But anyway, so the Will Terry video was talking about how if he's going to do a project like this, if he's going to, at his point in his career, and I'm not going to say I'm at the same point he is with my career, but I am definitely, I'm somebody who makes a living off of doing my art, and when I do projects, I do want there to be some sort of end result or some way to either benefit, whether that's building an audience, whether that's putting something out that I can market, whatever the case is. So this may be a book or something along those lines, depending on if I can make that happen. Part of it is also to sort of build that audience, but I do want to start putting out more. I do my comics and I put those out, but there's so many other things. I've got all this artwork that's just kind of sitting here, sort of gathering dust, and I've talked about how I want to put out a book, and I haven't even started this or whatever, but I do want to do a book called, basically something like Robots, Aliens, Zombies, and Other Imminent Threats to Humanity, where there'd be a section on robots, a section on zombies, and so on and so forth. So that's something I want to do, but I'd like that to be a really kind of nice book, so that's something that down the road. I mean, I got to focus on my comic and all this other stuff, but this might be something that I can do that doesn't have to be super fancy, that I can make a nice little presentation that won't be so complicated. I did want to do something like this when I was doing I was doing March of Robots, so I was doing the blueprints where it was white on blue, which is a lot easier than the white on black, because you could actually see some of the sketching, and I did all that by hand. And moving forward, I will be doing these by hand, so hopefully all the time that it took that I wasted, it won't be a waste moving forward, because I'll just draw directly on the on the black paper instead of trying to do it digitally and transfer it over. But I do want this to be something that I can bring to the market one way or another. I don't know exactly how that'll happen, but I do want that to happen. I want more of those type of things. I want, because I see people like Jake Parker who came up with this whole Inktober thing. I do see how pretty much everything he does, one of these projects, he has a way to sell it, whether he collects it in a sketchbook. That's something I'd like to do more of, put more sketchbooks out there, whether it's like in Inktober. And I've seen a lot of people take their Inktober thing and do a sketchbook, and maybe I kickstart this. Maybe I do, because there's like these very simple Kickstarters. I forgot the term that they use, but it's like a smaller project of a Kickstarter. So maybe something like that, where just nothing big, nothing that because the problem about Kickstarters is it takes so much to actually run one and market it and everything. But if I was to just kind of put something out and say, hey, if you want to contribute to this, help me out in printing this, and you can get one, that'd be great. But nothing too complicated. That's kind of what I'm thinking about this. But anyway, so as you can kind of see, it's coming together. I don't know. This technique is a little. My problem is this, or my worry is this going to be too. Can you make out what's going on? And now that I'm starting to fill in a little bit of the white, I mean, the idea is that it's a negative image of what you would normally see on black and white. And so that's why I'm going to kind of entitle this negative zone, in parentheses, an Inktober project, and then, brand it like that. Maybe I'll hashtag it or whatever, and I'll just have to see if it gets, if it's something that people gravitate towards. Instagram has changed a lot. I know usually when I do an Inktober project, because typically I'm posting on Instagram maybe 3 times a week, because I'll do my sketch of my Take Me to Your Leader Tuesday, and then I'll do the inks, and then I'll do the final version. But with something like this, I'll be posting again hopefully every day, unless I burn out on this. I don't know. I hope not, because I really do want to see this thing through. It's just going to be a lot of work, and I don't have a lot of time to do it. But hopefully I can start to build a little more following on Instagram, because that's something that I don't pay as much attention to as opposed to YouTube and everything. And also I'll be able to put some of these videos on my Patreon and hopefully grow the Patreon a little more. And I've got tons of other stuff. My last Inktober project that I did with the monsters, I filmed all those, the videos, and I'm looking for them. They're somewhere on my hard drive. I can't find them, but I want to release those in Patreon too. But yeah, so this is my Inktober project.
All right, so I did it. I did the first drawing anyway. Hopefully, there's a lot going on here, and I know it's sort of a negative view of things, the white on black, but that's sort of the whole idea that I'm going for. The theme of this is going to be negative zone, and it's an Inktober project, and hopefully at the end I will be able to create like an art book or something, because I really do want to, if I'm going to take on a challenge like this, I want to have it be somewhat beneficial, other than just the challenge of doing it and the learning and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully there's people that actually would like to see this in print and maybe be interested in purchasing that. So yeah, I may be posting some more of these on YouTube from time to time. I'll be posting some to my Patreon, like I said, so there's a lot of other exclusive content there if you want to check that out. But yeah, day 1 down. Let's see what happens. I mean, this is something I've never done before, so hopefully I can pull it off, and this won't be the first time that I failed at Inktober. So what about you guys? Are you guys doing Inktober? Anything different you're trying to accomplish by taking the challenge? Let me know in the comment sections, and I will see you guys later. That is all. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can follow me at Serkworks on social media, and now you can support the work that I do on Patreon. Do you like making comics? Then go to Serkworks.com and pick up the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's packed full of fonts, brushes, templates, and more, and best of all, it's totally free.